This is Chicago and Her Royal Majesty, Lori Lightfoot. It's going back to medieval times. Yes, this is not a festival because, you know, they shut all that kind of stuff down. Remember medieval times and the tourist joints? You don't have the jousting anymore, but they have literally had to raise the bridges like drawbridges. That's the only way they can control the crowds. They don't have any portcullis that they can drop down, you know, the big, heavy cross-grid iron thing. They can't do that. So they're having to raise the bridges. Keep the hoi poi out. Right? So they got their moat, you know, they got the river that runs through Chicago everywhere, and they got these drawbridges. So just draw the bridge up. There you go. Crowd control, effective. How's that? Isn't that great? And of course, this is happening all over, as reported by many authorities. Chicago authorities took the decision to raise all the major bridges in an effort to prevent looters from reaching the downtown area. That's the only way that they can protect these areas that have been under attack for 148 days of lockdown. They had to board them up. They had hoped that that would protect them from looters, you know, because they had to abandon their businesses at the order of our government masters. You slaves, it's not safe to be in the marketplace anymore, so we have to board up your businesses. And of course, abandoned businesses are ripe for attack. All the bridges are being raised along the river throughout the loop, reported CBS Chicago yesterday. Bridges previously raised last month in order to keep the Black Lives Matter protesters. You mean looters, don't you? Black looters matter. That's really what BLM stands for. They should matter, but they don't matter to Lori Lightfoot. Absolutely amazing. Anyway, hundreds of people on the streets, and shots were fired at police who returned fire. No officers were injured, and it's unknown at this time if the offenders were shot. Chicago Transit Authority said Monday that at least half a dozen bus and train lines were shut down at the request of public safety officials. Shut down the buses, shut down the trains, drop the bridges. I mean, we really are seeing society collapse here. And we're going back into medieval dark ages, aren't we? And what precipitated all this stuff, right? Well, the clip that I showed you yesterday of some of the looters and the one woman who was going through the luxury place, selecting what she wanted as reparations, of course. Reparations, you know, it's owed her because she's black. And so she is entitled to take whatever she wanted. And she was pretty upset that they had locked the stuff up and she couldn't find the keys as she rumbled through the drawer there in the store that she had broken into. You know, what kind of white privilege is this? You got your luxury goods here. I can't even get them even after I break into the store. Well, it was all precipitated on the fact the Chicago Police Department announced that a 20-year-old, Latrell Allen, was charged with 2 counts of attempted murder and 1 count of unlawful possession of a weapon. Yeah, there you go. So shot at the officers and they shot back at him and so forth. But, you know, that excuses all this. It's all justified. Absolutely. Rioters, looters hit Chicago after a man is reportedly hit in a shootout with police. It said during an ensuing chase, he turned the officers allegedly and fired shots at them. 2 officers then fired shots and struck Allen, who is in stable condition at the University of Chicago. But that's a good enough reason to take whatever you want from the luxury stores. So as all of this is rolling out across Chicago, we see that the Chicago prosecutor, Kim Foxx, dismissed over 25,000 felony cases over the last few years in Cook County. She dropped charges against 29.9% of felony defendants. See, this is one of the reasons why, and here's the bottom line, folks. Why is all of this really happening to such a degree? When we look at what is happening to these prosecutors and these state attorney general, like Keith Ellison and stuff, these people, this is why George Soros, and I reported this years ago, I said, look what he's doing. He's dumping millions of dollars into what in many cases are just local prosecutor, attorney general or local prosecutor races. These people are elected. And Soros is dumping in millions of dollars. As a matter of fact, he did that down in San Antonio to get out a Republican, I think, that was there. Maybe it was just a law and order Democrat. I guess that's theoretically possible. Not everything is possible today. You can even have a Democrat who stands for law and order somewhere. But the guy who was the incumbent there was some radical Marxist that George Soros wanted put in place. And he's doing this all across the country. You know, in Minnesota, the state attorney general there, Keith Ellison, and then local prosecutors in places like Chicago, giving money to this New York attorney general who is coming after President Trump and many other people. And this is why he's doing this. They not only let felons out, 30% of the felons in Cook County, they don't do anything about it because they want chaos and disorder on the streets. And then they want the prosecutors to ignore the felons to create chaos and disorder, but then go after their political opponents. And I pointed out, that was exactly what they were going to do. And now we see it rolling out. He's been pumping money into these races. The guy in San Antonio beat back the Soros candidate because he made the millions of dollars that Soros had poured into that local election. He made that a campaign issue. And if you expose that, typically it backfires on Soros because people understand what's happening. But if you don't expose that and he is successful, then this is what happens. Felons loose on the street and political opponents in the docks. In the docks. That is precisely what is happening. So when we look at how our country is melting down and the Civil War, I think a good example of this was that flag fight that you probably saw. Roll the B-roll of that, guys. That flag fight where you've got a group of pro-cop protesters fighting with a bunch of Marxists, and they are literally in the ditch. Guy's got an American flag there on a pole, and he takes a stab at another guy. This is what they want to do to us. And they're able to do this because of the economic deprivation that is happening now. The people who would normally be working and building their businesses and going to their jobs, now they've been shut down, locked out, and it's hard times. 1 in 4 Americans have missed a bill payment since COVID-19 lockdown and unemployment. And another 26%, so they haven't paid their cell phone or their cable bills. Another 25% failed to pay for streaming services. So this is getting serious. If you can't afford to pay for your entertainment in America, it's really serious. And so this is escalating. And as they're doing this, and as Soros and others have funded these Antifa groups, not just the district attorneys who don't want to do anything about this, except to use the only way that they have for the district attorneys is to conduct lawfare against their political opponents. But then you see this, video clip number 7, a BLM protester obstructing the highway draws a gun at an innocent driver. Show that B-roll there. Go ahead. Well, go ahead and roll it. Do we have some sound? Yeah, go ahead and roll it. Now look at this. Now, these are people, perhaps this is a BLM protester. They have just discovered the Second Amendment and firearms. And they don't really know that if you point a gun at somebody, especially here in Texas, they're likely to not just point a gun back at you, but to shoot you and kill you, like that guy found out in Austin. And here you see this truck as that person stands in front of them with a gun pointed at them. They back up, and then they try to go to another side there for the radio listeners. And as they do that, the crowd rushes over there and blocks them again. You might want to start practicing your Rockford turns. Remember the Rockford Files? Jim Rockford, he used to do that all the time. Actually, James Garner knew how to do that pretty well, where you back up really fast and you do a 180 while you're backing up. That's a Rockford. Barring that, make sure that you've got a dash cam so that you can prove that these people were pointing a gun at you when you shoot and kill them. We'll be right back.
Introducing InfoWars Life Pure Turmeric Extract. This is taken under the tongue. It is pure turmeric. It goes together very well with our body's ultimate turmeric formula that is taken as a powdered capsule and absorbed in the stomach and intestines. This is absorbed under the tongue into the bloodstream, and then the remaining also is then absorbed by the stomach. So it's more of an intense delivery system. The two formulas are different, but both are concentrates, and our first product got rave reviews. We've now been testing this out for several months. Some of our staff like it more than bodies, some like bodies better. For me, they're both amazing for their anti-inflammatory action and so much more, and they fund the InfoWar. So get our new liquid turmeric extract exclusively at InfoWarsStore.com today. Get an additional 25% off. This is a 360 win. Turmeric is renowned for what it does for all of our bodies, for inflammation and so much more. Get yours today at InfoWarsLife.com.